Let's go Rangers.
Blueshirt Underground, motherfucker!
Can't be as a Ranger fan. Can't be as a Ranger fan.
This is an unlawful gathering. This is an unlawful gathering. The truth is out there. The truth is out there.
This is the underground. This is new media. This is the underground. This is new media.
Ranger fans, report to the critical thinking hangar. Ranger fans, report to the critical thinking hangar.
And now here is the starting lineup for the New York Rangers. And now here is the starting lineup for the New York Rangers.
This is New York Rangers hockey. 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 This is New York Rangers.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Blueshirt Underground Show. Today is Wednesday. It is July 15th. We are 17 days away from hockey as I look at the calendar. My name is Jim, and as always, I am joined by the one and only Eddie Geik. Eddie, good evening, and how are you, sir?
Oh, I am doing great. Woo! I have made a 1 week turnaround in my attitude as far as the playoffs go. It looks like it's going to happen August 1st. They're going to drop the puck. So I'm happy now. I'm not in the doldrums. Training camp has begun. So I'm doing well, Jim. I hope everything is well with you and everything with the Blueshirt Underground contingent. The tsunami of Rangers fandom is about to explode and break on the NHL playoffs as we rev up for the battle against the Carolina Hurricanes, the Hurricanes. So yes, I'm a little bit more jizz.
I'm a hurricane, Alice. A hurricane. And I just want to let everyone know that for we are officially broadcasting on YouTube and Facebook Live. I have my iPad in front of me here. There we are on Facebook, and there are captions. There are closed captions on Facebook.
Oh, we're being closed captioned.
Wow.
Hearing impaired?
Apparently. So, and I see everybody's comments are coming up in the chat. I see it tells you whether they're commenting on YouTube or whether they're commenting on Facebook. I like this. We've got Matt Morello's on YouTube, Cutter's on YouTube, Costa's on Facebook, Savoir Faire is on Facebook, Chris the Meat's on the TubeYube, John Riggs YouTube, Kevin Cosmo YouTube, Paul Gaduzzi on Facebook. Ladies and gentlemen, we are worldwide.
And I could see their icons from the Facebook, talking to them. And
so their icons of where they're. I'm sorry, their icons of where they're.
From the Facebook icons that are known and their Facebook pics. Matt Morello still too lazy to upload a YouTube icon. Hey, Matt, get on the ball there. I want something. Give me
excellent
shampoo or something. So, but I'm
now we have
everybody.
Yes, it's a big crowd. Nice to see everybody on both platforms. Hope you're enjoying the show. I just now uploaded the last two shows to podcast. I apologize apologize for those being late, but they are there for your listening pleasure. Next is Netflix. Boy, that would be something.
Yeah, I take
Live
them if
on
I can.
Netflix.
Take
Not
Vudu.
streaming in Pornhub yet. We'll get there. We'll get to Pornhub. Don't worry.
Don't worry, Red Tube's next.
Lolo's Tube. There's another one. Andrew is here. What's up, Andrew? Todd McConnell. McConnell. So
Chris,
Eddie and I have made a decision. This was made right before the show during our pre-show meeting. It goes on for hours. We get together. Daryl Bush is here. What's up, Daryl? Eddie and I get together and discuss a lot of show business and not show business, but show business. And one of the things that was proposed, and it was passed by a vote of 2-0, unanimous decision, that in the past we have done a show in between. When the Rangers have been in the playoffs, we've done a show in between every game. That's our long-standing tradition, and we are going to do that this year. We're going to do a video show in between every playoff game. On the days where there's back-to-back games, maybe one of them will have to be a pregame show or something like that. We're going to figure it out. However, the live video stream of the show is going to be only in the Blueshirt Undergrounders group. We're going to make that exclusive to our Patreon supporters. Many of you are already there. And we just felt like with no games, with only half a season, we didn't get to do as much for our supporters as we have in the past. And we didn't have a viewing party that got wiped out. So we want to do something special for the Patreon people. So only our Patreon supporters, and you can support us by looking at that link right below our beautiful faces. Get yourself on Patreon, and you'll be in our Undergrounders group for the live video shows after, in between the tournament games. I don't know if we can actually call this playoffs, or if we're just going to call it a tournament. Playoffs?
Yeah. All the way through to the Stanley Cup.
All the way, baby. Why not us? That's what the Rangers are saying.
Why not us? The Rangers got a lot of offense. They could steal something.
Look, Cutter, it's not anti-Cutter. Why does Cutter think that every decision we make revolves around him? Get yourself signed up for Patreon. All you got to do is sign up for $1 a month, and you'll be in. The COVID Cup. I like that. Can we call it the COVID Cup? Can we steal that? The COVID Cup.
We could steal that. We've stolen everything else.
Chris DeMe also chiming in with the COVID Cup. Mike Smith is here. Mike Smith was around. Yes, he was around for the Spanish flu tournament in 1918.
It's the Maroons.
Yes, the Vancouver Millionaires.
Yeah.
What a maroon.
Mike Smith with
before we get sorry.
I just want to say, did he message you about the Ranger Canadian game on yesterday? The one, the viewing party?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. But I was not. I don't have MSG here at the house. What's that?
No, you were saying something.
Oh, he did message me, but we don't get MSG here at the house. I was able to watch MSG last week. We went to Jen's parents' house for dinner, and I was flipping through the channels, and MSG was showing Rangers Oilers from 1985. Rangers scored 6 goals on Grant Fuhr in the first period, en route to, I believe, a 8-7 win.
Wow.
So that was fun to watch. That was fun to watch. Sam Rosen and Phil Esposito with the call on MSG.
Probably like Sam's first or second year.
Yeah, probably.
Bop, bop, bop. What did I say? So Yeah, that big win at the viewing party we had with the big comeback against the Canadians. I think Mike Smith was in absolute shock that happened. I think he was shocked more than anybody. He'd never seen anything like that. And we've never really seen anything like that. So remember those moments.
Not really. Some of us at the viewing party had given up. I won't mention any names. Rhymes with most of the lazy the lazy geek. Most of the lazy geek gave up. Head down. He was done.
The flower
He was
play,
done. Right.
the whole bit.
When I told them they were coming back, what are you smoking? What are you smoking? Ah.
Good stuff. Keep on smoking.
Right.
Hey, listen. That's why anything
So,
can happen.
Mike Smith said they had a great time. That's right.
It's there's been some magic moments this season. But Jim, I got some grave news.
Grave? Adam Graves?
No.
Ryan Graves news?
No, bad news.
What's going on?
Well, it might be good news now that I think of it. One of the longest nightmares in Ranger history has now the reason the Rangers' defense is terrible has been jettisoned. Our long nightmare of Lindy Ruff is now over. I'm sad, but also relieved because he is the reason, the total reason, the absolute reason the Rangers' defense is bad. Thank God. I'm being somewhat sarcastic. I'm being somewhat facetious. The overreaction by this fan base about Lindy Ruff is preposterous. It's absurd, and it's fictitious. And I move it to be dismissed. Is that Lindy Ruff? Who's that?
That's Lindy Ruff.
Lindy just saying, what? What did I do? What did I do?
The great Lindy Ruff.
The great Lindy Ruff saying, what? I developed Adam Fox. Nobody gives me credit for that. Lindgren's playing well under me. Instead, they want to recite stats. Oh, yes.
Look at Jen chiming in. Look at this one. Do we want to give an update on that fiasco, by the way?
Sure. Yeah. I would like to get your thoughts on Lindy Ruff and the whole thing, and then we'll go into the fiasco recap.
Well, my thoughts on Lindy Ruff is, look, Lindy Ruff got the blame for the defense. Before him, who got the blame? Jeff Bukaboom was before him.
He's terrible. Jeff Bukaboom was the worst. Great player, Ben.
I've said this before. I don't know any. I'm not sure there's another fan base that's as tough on assistant coaches as this one is.
They didn't have enough whipping boys. They all had Stahl. They only had Stahl
Right.
this year, so they had to go deeper into the bench.
I had I don't know. I thought Anthony D'Angelo was pretty good this year on defense. Did he coach himself? Did Adam Fox coach himself?
This is no credit.
I mean, they did have some guys that played okay on defense. They were young. I mean, they were young with 20. Everybody's 20 years old, 18, 16. We got 12-year-olds back there on defense. We're learning.
I mean, didn't Tony D'Angelo flourish under the tutelage of Lindy Ruff? No, nothing.
No.
Just every puck went in the net was Lindy Ruff's fault.
Was Lindy Ruff's fault?
You got a Methuselah-like goalie and Henrik Lundqvist. Ruff's fault. But now, do I really care that he's a Devils coach? No, now he's with somebody put Trump. No.
Jen.
No. I don't really care that he went to the Devils. I don't know how the Devils took him over some of the other candidates, like Gerard Gallant and Peter Laviolette. But,
yeah, I mean he's an odd choice for the Devils because they're a rebuilding team with a lot of young guys, and he's kind of an odd choice. I would see him more as a veteran coach. Like,
well, that's why the Rangers did. I mean, he's left over from the Vigneault days. Vigneault,
right?
Vigneault. Why am I Vigneault?
Vigneault.
Vigneault. The reason he didn't get the job is because they were going with a young team. They got David Quinn. The Devils
Right.
are the same way. They got a bunch of nobodies, somebodies, maybe some, they're floundering. They're a trend. They got their organization's a shambles. At least they got a building to play in, so they're a little bit ahead of the Islanders. So,
Yeah, but it's in Newark.
It's in Newark, though. I do like the building. I gotta say, once you get there, if you got some hired bodyguards and you get in there, it's a nice place.
Is it? Never been.
Except for those stupid fucking cheerleaders. That's stupid. All
The
right.
Bing girls.
Yeah,
The bada Bing girls.
bunch of hookers. Anyway,
So best of luck to Lindy Ruff. Another guy. I harbor no ill will towards Lindy Ruff.
I don't want him to beat us, but whatever.
Right.
I don't care either way. You could put any generic guy. Who'd they hire? They hired
Gord Miller.
Gord Murphy.
Gord Murphy. Murphy, Miller.
Who I liked as a player.
Right.
He was, played for the Flyers, which of course I didn't like for a majority of his career, but he was kind of a feisty defenseman. Much better than Lindy Ruff.
He's filling in for the tournament, right? I don't think he's been. I don't think he's been hired permanent. Like, has he? I don't think so. I thought. I thought I read that he was just coming in for the tournament, and then I guess they'll figure it out. But I don't know. Maybe he is permanent. Like, I don't know.
The target
Anyway.
on his back from the Twitterati. Getting ready.
Right. I mean, I guess Lindy Ruff was here kind of to ease David Quinn's transition, right, into the pro game. Guy never coached in the pros, and
I mean, Lindy Ruff is one
fine.
of those coaches. When he's a decent coach. He just really can't get you, playoffs. Never really had.
Yeah, I mean,
success.
yeah, I mean, he had the one run to the finals. He had a couple of conference final runs, and he was one of those guys made the playoffs a lot, but they never really went anywhere except for a couple of years. But it's whatever.
I'm not sweating it. All right, now.
Does this instantly transform us into a top 5 defensive team in the league? No, of course not. You'll just have to. You just won't have Nixon to kick around anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And I also feel the Rangers really tightened up their defense as the season went along. Their whole team defense. I think Chris Kreider's even spoken about this, how their team defense really made an adjustment as the season went along. So
yeah, I thought they played better as the season went along, and that's all you can ask for. I mean, when you got a team of 15-year-olds, that's what you want.
I mean, Shesterkin and Georgiev were playing well. I mean, for the most part.
Right.
I mean, Shesterkin had that before he got hurt. Was playing very well. So, all right. End of that storyline now. We don't have to cover that.
Farewell, Lindy.
Farewell, Lindy. A long nightmare has finally ended.
I would say best of luck to you, but you're a devil now, so no.
Yeah, you're dead to me now.
All I'll say is,
go ahead.
All I'll say is, don't catch COVID.
Yeah, I don't care if you get hit in the head with 50 bucks now.
Right, get that big gash.
Crap, no. He hit in the head or he fell on the ice. I forgot. Let me get that big.
I think he fell on the ice, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, I don't care if he falls 50 times now. You're dead to me.
And
all right,
good to see assistant coach back behind the bench.
Yeah, Lindy Ruff.
Lindy Ruff, when he went down on the ice and banged his head in practice the other day and knocked himself out.
Yeah. Got a big gash as well. Big gash behind the head.
We're worried about the
that
ice
gash.
more than Lindy's.
Well, there's another clip we have to retire.
No, that's a great one. Every time they play the
Jen
Devils,
loves that one.
you
Yeah,
should
every
say-
time we play the Devils, we could bring it up, right?
Yeah. Just Sam didn't fall on his head at the ice when he was trying to.
That's great.
All right, let's talk about what happened last week. You explain what happened. You were more in the know than I was. I fired off one question, and I felt like maybe I scared him off, but I don't think that was the thing.
No. All right. So, as everybody knows, after 2 months of chasing this guy, I finally had a gentleman's agreement, I guess you would call it, for Matthew Barnaby, former player of the Rangers, number 36, to join us here on the show. Ever since he started doing his own podcast, I've been chasing him, and it was a lot of back and forth, playing footsie with this guy, as I like to say. Finally, last week, he was supposed to appear on the show. Now, 3 times I sent him very explicit instructions how to get into the show. It's really not that hard, guys. I post a link. You take the link, and if you have an Android phone, you post it in your Chrome browser. If you have an Apple phone, which everybody should, you paste it in your Safari browser.
What are you getting paid by Apple now?
No, that's a running joke between me and Jen. You paste it in the browser. It will authorize you. It'll ask you to let it use the camera. You let it use the microphone. You log in through your Facebook or your Google, and you're in. My daughter knows how to do it. My future stepdaughter, Avery, knows how to do it because they both did it as we did a test run. No problem, right? Now, so we have Mr. Barnaby scheduled for 7:30 last week. I'm watching. Now, I've sent him all these instructions on Facebook Messenger. And if you use Facebook Messenger, you send somebody a message and you get that little check mark. When they read your message, you get the little picture of their profile next to the message. 7:27, Matt Barnaby still has not read the message I sent him at 12:30 in the afternoon. It's now 7:27. He still hasn't read it. I keep checking. All of a sudden, 7:30, his little profile picture comes up next to my message. He's reading my message. Okay, maybe we're getting somewhere. 2-3 minutes later, I get a message from him. I tried clicking the link. It doesn't work. I'm like, I told him, no, you don't click the link. You copy and paste it. Fine. He does it. A minute later, he's showing up. I see his name come up, and it says up here in the studio that Eddie and I use at the top of the screen, it says Matthew Barnaby is now ready to join your broadcast. I look down in the little window that I see in the studio here, and there's no picture. It just says Matthew Barnaby. And I'm like, all right. So now Eddie and I are like stalling because we've talked and we don't want to start we're just waiting for him to come on, and there's really not much to say at this point. So we're just kind of, stalling. Finally, his picture shows up and he's on a golf cart on the golf course. I'm like, oh, all right, well, this could be fun. He's out on the golf course, whatever, I guess he's done playing. He's just going to sit out there. I know he plays a lot of golf. Then we get him on, and his picture is his audio is bad. It's off. His video is bad. And Eddie said something to him about, or I asked how the golf game was, and he said, well, the more I drink, the better it is. So today it's a lot, and it was something like that. So he was at least half in the bag. His signal was bad, and then he disappeared. Eddie asked him a question, and he was gone.
I didn't feel like some of the worst Ranger teams ever.
Right. And then he was gone. His signal cut out. We lost him. I sent him another message on Facebook. I said, you lost your signal. I said, we lost you. I said, just call back soon, whenever you can. He reads the message and he ignores me. He doesn't say another word. I guess people were tweeting him about it. And he responded to me on Twitter and said, sorry about the signal. Can we reschedule? So the very next day, I sent him a message on Facebook. I said, and all I said was, let me know when you want to reschedule. And that's it. I left it at that. I wasn't going to give him any days. I wasn't nothing. I'm not chasing this guy anymore. I'm done. Done. And he read my message and never answered me. So I guess this here from Matt Barnaby. And this just in, since Jen's watching, this just in from Megan. Linus just killed a goddamn snake.
Wow.
And there's a picture of the snake in the grass.
Wow.
He killed the snake. She watched him do it. So that's the Matthew Barnaby story. That's the Linus killing the goddamn snake story. That's all. That's it. Your thoughts on Barnaby?
I mean, he really doesn't care. Why should he care? He probably realized that we do have some fans out there. We do have people that actually watch this show and would have thought, I mean, it would be a great combination to get all us two with him since he speaks so frankly. Oh, yes, thoughts and prayers go out to the snake as well.
Thoughts and prayers to the snake.
Yes.
Well,
I mean, whatever.
here's the.
I was gonna pick his brain. I was basically just gonna. I don't know. I feel it's.
He's got some good stories.
He does, and he's kind of like right now.
And he did play with Messier and Gretzky.
Yeah, he's kind of a hot commodity now with the COVID. People really like his show. Like my friends were like, "Oh wow, you're gonna have him on." I watch his podcast. So he's probably just like, But I thought it was. I mean, you're spending all this time chasing him down. He can't take a half hour from his house and do it properly. What did he think? I'm going to do this on the golf course.
Yeah, but here's the.
I don't know.
Here's the bigger problem. One of the biggest Matthew Barnaby fans on the planet lives in this house. He knows that. She's sent him pictures that she's taken of him over the years at games, signs, things that he's autographed for her. He used to be a part of this website called Hockey Worldwide. He sent Jen a personal email that is printed. She showed it to me last week before he came on. From Matthew Barnaby, he sent her an email that says, "Hey, Jen, just wanted to let you know I just got traded to the Rangers."
Wow.
So he knows who she is and that she's a big fan of his. So by letting us down, he really let her down. She took it harder than we did. She took it very hard.
Well,
you can see as soon as I started talking about it, she gave us an ugh in the chat room here, right here.
I'd start investing your time in Brendan Lemieux.
Brendan Lemieux.
You like him? He's a good player.
So
hopefully, he'll be with the Rangers for a while.
He's next.
Like whatever. I mean, right now it's some crazy times, man. But I think.
Yeah, but you know what? It's not like this guy was calling us from the emergency room and saying, "How I can't talk." You know, I mean, this guy's on the golf course, half bombed out of his mind. You can't take 10 minutes. He's got a whole setup at his house for his video podcast.
I'm not making any excuses for the guy, but in the old days, we were just done by phone, and he probably would have been okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, we wouldn't have to worry about the video, and he would have been drunk, and he probably would have been on. That's true. The great Roman Empire wouldn't have pulled that shit.
That's
You're right, Sean. We're gonna get Roman on this show. He's the
So-
only one without a podcast right now.
Right.
I mean, I think knowing that Jen is such a big fan, and and she's involved with the show, through you and as a fan and as a, part of one of the matriarchs of the Blueshirt Underground family.
Right. The Patriot.
That he should have done a solid, and he fucking pooped all over the place.
Right.
And if that's not answering you, if you don't want to do the show, say I don't want to do it. Sorry, I'm busy. I got a lot of things. This podcast, I'm not used to doing my own show. I don't really have a lot to say. I'm trying to save it for the show.
Fine.
Approach it that way.
Right.
But don't call. You're in the bag. You're half in the bag, and you're calling from golf cart on your rotary phone or whatever the flip phone. Yeah,
Your rotary phone.
whatever. It just was. I got no hard feelings, but it was not going to think of him.
I'm disappointed that he let Jen down more than us.
Yeah, well, Jen, it's not your fault. I mean,
No, she knows that. She knows that, but he let her down. It's like, she was looking forward to calling in.
Approach it. Is she going to cease promoting him? And
we had to take his poster down, the one that's over our bed.
Whoa! Some heavy-handed measures have been taken in response.
I no longer have to wear the Matthew Barnaby mask to bed.
Oh wow! That's great. Trust me, you got a much better looking mug than that guy.
So, well, thank you. Anyway, so that was the story. I don't know. We'll find somebody else. Maybe one of these days I'll track down Espo or Sean Avery, who never answered me either.
Don't worry, Sean. At least Sean, he's doing something.
Right. Sean Avery. You remember that song you did?
I did a song. Sean Avery.
You don't remember the Olivia Newton-John song that you did? Sean Avery. I honestly love you, Sean Avery.
No,
do you remember that?
No.
Oh my God. Long time. That's a long time. Yeah, Sean Avery.
I will say that Sean Avery made every regular season game get must-see TV. What is he going to do next? So the camp has started. Ladies and germs. Really, ladies and germs. Speaking of COVID-19.
Right.
The Rangers are in camp. I got this. I was talking to Jim before the show. They've got 8 defensemen in camp. And Igor Rykov is not one of them. Now, I think Rykov spent predominantly most of the season with Hatfield. And had an injury-plagued season. And already he's been written off as a bad acquisition. He's done. We've got too many guys in the pipeline.
The evals are in, huh?
Yeah, the evals are in. That's it. You got a 1 week window in this organization. If anything bad happens, here's so the 8 guys they have, according to Dancing Larry Brooks again, which he probably got from Darren Drager or somebody up from Canada. Well, I guess he's is he allowed to be at these practices? I don't even know. I don't know what the rules are, but it
Not
looks
sure.
like the Rangers have 8D for camp. Libor Hayek, who is another guy Ranger fans are either waning their high hopes for. And to be fair, Hayek has been off and on. Adam Fox is ready. Ryan Lindgren, we like him. Jacob Truba, we like him.
Oh.
But some Ranger fans are.
Ryan Lindgren's another guy who coached himself under Lindy Ruff, by the way, apparently.
Yes. Yep.
Ignored everything Lindy Ruff sold him.
And Brendan Smith, swingman.
Here's big news.
Yeah, who I will say that has made a decent accounting of himself this year. Certainly not worth the money, but a decent accounting of himself. The whipping boy, the man who could only poke check, the long arms, the long face of Mark Stahl is back.
The long arms, the long face.
Hey, Mark, why the long face?
Right.
And TDA, Tony D'Angelo, the offensive juggernaut, are the 8 defensemen in camp. Except that was only 7. The 8th is a man called Darren Radish, who I know nothing about. He spent most of the season in Hatford. So,
secret weapon.
Darren Radish? Well, yeah, did you get to a Hartford game this year?
Yes.
When
they were here.
Looks like he got fairly decent offensive stats.
Hold on.
Is he a guy we're going to be pining after?
6 goals, 22 assists in Hartford. He's 23 or 24, I think. 24.
We got him in the Peter Holland deal.
Yeah, I mean,
I wonder
it's
how
already we got somebody for Peter Holland.
We may have to go back. Remember when we evaluated Gorton's trades right after the COVID-19? We may have to amend our saying, listen, we probably said, well, we got Darren Radish. Let's hope this Radish isn't spoiled. But I heard nothing about him. But I guess that's what. So anyway, and the forwards are in camp, and Kreider is healthy. So
Vinny Lettieri's in camp.
Is he really?
He is going to win he's going to win the Conn Smythe, baby.
Oh God, he's going to win the Take a Hike.
That'd be something.
Trophy. If he makes the team,
the Con Artist Trophy.
See some of the players who have opted out in returning. How do you view that? Travis Harmonic is not going to play.
Oh,
Mike Green.
The great Travis Harmonic.
Travis Harmonic's not a bad defensive, but how would you feel if, like, let's say, for instance, Jesper Fast said, I don't want to risk getting sick. Would you hold that against him?
No.
You would not hold it against him. I feel like I would. I feel like if you're a Ranger and you signed the contract,
you got to be there, huh?
You got to be there. I would hold it against him. I would have a microaggression against Jesper Fast for the rest of his career. I'd say, hey, remember that year he didn't play because he was afraid of the flu?
Right.
How do you guys in the chat room feel?
I still think it's 60-40 that this tournament actually even happens. So I'm not going to fault a guy staying home.
What do you think? Something's going to happen in the next 15 days? They're going to call it off?
It wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me.
They got I think the Rangers play first, right? Aren't the Rangers the first game?
First up, baby. They're the team everybody wants to see. They're the wild card of this whole thing. They could, but why not us, baby?
I feel like it's like the Olympics, and then the Islanders play like an hour later or something.
Right, against Belarus.
They are Belarus.
Right. Islanders are playing Albania at like 4:00 on Bravo or something.
Wow. I bet you the Albanians.
This from Patreon supporter Darwin. Travis Amonic has a 2-year-old with health problems. Well, then I certainly can't fault a guy for staying home. I don't fault him anyway. I mean,
I think that's the reason he wanted to be traded from the Islanders, other than the obvious that he was requesting trade because he wanted. No, but I'm serious. He wanted to be traded to them because he had a kid that had a health problem.
No, I was just laughing at when you said other than the obvious. Right. Okay.
Green's,
so
what's Mike Green's reasoning?
He's old.
Grandma.
Mike Green's like our age. He's like our age.
He's got diabetes. He's got a lot of underlying conditions. What's going on? He's on that.
He's got the diabetes.
The sugar.
He's got that diabetes.
He's got the diabetes.
Oh God. Chris the Meat reporting that most of the guys who have opted out are because their kids have compromised immune systems.
That's no excuse. Man up and play hockey. I'm only kidding.
Wow.
I'm joshing your galoshes here. I'm joking around.
There's the headline tomorrow. Any guide to NHL dads, fuck off.
Man up. Sack up.
Meat sweats is just one of those terms that will always make me laugh. The meat sweats. Sean McCaffrey is the meat sweats.
And I see now Darwin Bushman is an MD, not just an internet MD. He's a real MD.
Right.
So he sees now. Why is Kako taking a big chance?
I don't know. Darwin is the BSU PhD.
Darwin, why is Kako at risk? I don't like Slim Jims. I don't like beef jerky.
I've had really good beef jerky and I've had really bad beef jerky. But I'm not a Slim Jim fan.
Like elk jerky. They have.
Yeah. Now because he has diabetes. Now everybody's talking to the chat room about what gives him the meat sweats.
Is he on the pump? Is he on that insulin pump? I had a friend who was on the insulin pump, and he worked in a supermarket. And you know that stupid robot that goes around and sweeps everything? You know, they have like a robot. They have a name for it.
We have one at the supermarket here that does. We have one at the supermarket here that does inventory.
Maybe it's that thing. I don't know. They got a name for the thing. And it turns out the electrical waves or the transmissions that go from the robot to its base interfere with this kid's insulin pump. So he's like fainting on the job because of this stupid robot they got. I think it's hysterical. Sometimes technology can go awry.
Is it this thing?
Yes.
Yeah, they take inventory.
Oh, so that thing is trying
That's
to
Marty.
kill my friend Chris at work by interfering with his insulin pump injections. That
Yeah, that's
thing
Marty.
right there is a murderer.
It's a killer.
It's a killer. Look at his eyes. You can tell.
Right.
Without the blood. All right. So he had diabetes. He's got diabetes.
I think he has it, right?
Yeah.
He's type 1.
He's got type 1. Okay, so that's insulin dependent. I mean, I'm no doctor. I hate when people say that. I'm
no doctor.
Really? Since last week, I thought you became a doctor. Last week you were nothing, but this week you're going to tell me you're not a doctor. I thought you got your degree. All right, so Kako was ace manning up. You don't care about his sugars.
You don't care about the diabetes.
You don't care about the diabetes. This is his time. This is a great time for him to shine, and really, because he did. Let's call a spade, and we can say that.
Can you still
here
say
at
that?
Underground. Yeah, you can say anything on the show. His regular season was very underwhelming compared to expectations. Would you agree?
Yeah, but our expectations were probably unreasonably high, as they always are.
Well, he didn't look. I'm not saying he looked bad, but he was not all that dazzling. He looked up. He's playing with men now.
Right.
I don't care about. They always say every guy we bring in here says the same thing. Oh, he played in the Swedish Elite League against men. No, he didn't. He's playing with Swedes. You bring him into North America, you bring him into the NHL, it's a whole different level. So don't tell me he's matured, this and that. They come in here with this schedule and the physicality and the brutality and the vitality, the congeniality and the personality. I don't know what I'm talking about.
The Wessonality.
The Wessonality. Very good. That's a very good grab from the past.
Florence Henderson, baby.
Yeah, I liked her for about a week.
Only a week?
She probably was the worst singer on the planet Earth. I remember watching her on the cerebral palsy telethon, and I was going to donate just to get her off. She was singing. I was like, I'll give you $10 if you get off the fucking stage, Flo-ho.
Flo-ho.
Sorry, I digress. So, where were we? We were talking about the defenseman. So, Letary is, who are the forwards up? Give me a list. Any surprises?
I'm sorry, say that again.
What about the forwards in camp? Do you have a list I can? I can't. I could look it up myself, but I appear to be too lazy to do that.
Let's see. Let me pull it up here for you. Buchnevich, Hedel, Philippa Di Giuseppe, Jesper Fost, Fatso Fogarty, Julian Gauthier, Tim Gettinger, Michael Haley, Brett Howden, Capo Kako, Vitaly Kravtsov, Chris Kreider, Brendan Lemieux, Vinny Letary, Greg McKegg, Danny O'Regan, Artemi Panarin, Ryan Strome.
O'Regan.
Oh, Danny boy. And Mika Zibanejad.
Michael Haley, why?
I don't know.
Okay. I mean, Okay, so we
Is
got
there a
that.
very
We
loud
got that.
cricket outside your window?
No.
I'm hearing a cricket, a very loud cricket
Does anybody hear cricket?
through the like it's coming from your end.
There is no cricket coming out from my end.
All right.
Oh, you know what? I think I'm having rustling papers. Is that what you're hearing?
No, but that's okay.
There he is. Westonality, Floho.
I just want to hear her sing.
No, don't. She's terrible. Her and Kathy Lee Gifford may be the worst singers. And these broads.
I guess she didn't sing that commercial.
And how much they love Barbara Streisand, and they try to sing like Barbara Streisand.
Oh, please.
And then it's like they sound like Barbara Eden. Throwing the old
Barbara
reference.
Belgetti's.
All right.
There's an even older reference for you. All right, you want to get to this bracket? Now we're into this now.
Yeah, we got to get rid of this before the play-in starts.
Right.
All right, bring it on. Bring it on. Let's bring it on.
All right. A quick scan of where we're at. We're not gonna recount these, but you can take a quick look as I scroll. You'll see where we're at. And we have, let's see, what do we have left here in the second round? We got a little ways to go here in the second round. Let's see. Let me just.
Season.
Quite possibly. All right.
We're making headway.
So first up, we are making headway. Let me see if I could. It might be too big. Drop it back. All right. So we are up to matchup number 41. Eddie, the MSG renovation, the bye-bye blue seats, the blue seats as we know it, where fans were educated not only on how to be a Ranger fan, but how to be a fan. How to be a fan.
I learned everything I know about sex in the blue seats.
We learned how to taunt. We learned not only how to taunt teams, how to taunt fans. There was a guy that I used to sit up in the blue seats a lot, and there used to be a guy that would yell every time a vendor came by, like the popcorn guy. He'd come up the stairs, he'd yell, "Hey, popcorn here!" And this one guy would yell, "Does anybody want any popcorn?" And then like 75 people would all yell, "No!" Well, I always remembered that and carried that with me other places. My friends and I would do that when we went places.
Ah, that's good.
Yes, my username is JRS1940. To answer Chris the Meat. Yes, Matt Morello, good memory. Duguay takes it up the ass. Yep. I learned that in the blue seats.
I love the fact that we actually razzed our own fans. That's what the blue seats. Everybody, our own players, rather. I feel that not many teams do that.
You don't think so?
No.
It's New York, baby.
Yeah, New York, it's tough. Duguay was a pretty productive Ranger. But
right.
You know, he had that flowing hair and that whole metrosexual look before it was, I guess, in vogue, if it ever was in vogue. Yeah, the blue seats meant a lot. I mean, it was, and that's just the blue seat. It's the renovation itself, the expansion of everything's so far back, and it's lost a lot of its volume because of it.
Yeah, I mean they had their own identity. I mean, if you said that, you say the blue seats, and that only means one thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
It had its own identity. It was his own entity. It was part of the lexicon. I forget. I don't know who I think I was talking to Mike Smith, and I was saying how, when I was 16, 17, 18, I'd go up to the city the day the tickets went on sale, and I'd have my schedule, and I'd have like 5 games picked out. And for $100, I could get 5 pairs of tickets in the blue seats. And I knew that win or lose, it was going to be a blast because I was going to hear things I never heard. I was going to learn things I never knew. It was entertaining as well as watching the game.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I love getting my sashimi with all the new food courts, it's more a place to visit than a home arena, I think. I mean,
Right.
again, I will say that during the playoffs it gets loud in there, but
it's more like a Dave and Buster's now.
And I don't think it's just because of the suits. A lot of the suits take a big rap which is true. The fans aren't on the glass like at other arenas and with the signs and the slamming and the raucous.
The suits have always been there.
The suits pretty much have always been there, but the renovation really, as much as it's nice if you're a visitor, you go there, you're like, wow, this is
right
something they have here.
You see all those Billy Joel banners. I mean, it's really something.
Yeah, look at this. Billy Joel plays here every night. Okay. And all the amenities that come with the new Madison Square Garden, it lost its soul by removing the blue seats as we knew them, and the ambience of the place is not what it. Well, let's face it, we want it to be loud. It's New York. It's supposed to be loud and raucous, not like a mall. Food court with a rink in it. And that bridge.
And that's pretty much what they've turned it into.
Yeah, I mean, the bridge, the bridge, I don't care. So, I'm very, post 9/11, I will always say this. Things changed. You couldn't get loud. You couldn't be abrasive. You couldn't let the F-bomb go once in a while with the warning. Now it's any off-color thing or anything that might upset somebody, you're getting tossed out of there. I mean, I understand it's a family sport. It was a family sport when my dad took me.
That's right. Mine too.
1975 and 1976. People weren't getting warned when they were saying, whatever they were saying. Are you fucking kidding me? They weren't being like, oh, an usher coming over to them. No. The usher would laugh along with you. So it's gotten very sterilized. So you got to work your way around it. Guys like me who like to throw the expletives around the game. I just get on players, yell, whatever. Me and Jim both, when we're there live, like to be part of the game.
Right. Right. I'm not there to sit on my hands. I'm not there to wave a towel.
We get an audience of any kind.
Right.
Like-minded individuals, we're going to try to entertain them. And if they don't laugh, then we stop. We're not one of those people going to keep pushing. All right.
So
and it's going against
John Drews in the 1990 playoffs. Do we even need to recount that? We watched a video on it the last time. I think we're in agreement here on the blue seats.
Yes. Cutter did bring up a good question. How good was that Ranger team that ran into the John Drews juggernaut in 1990? Not good enough to win the Stanley Cup. So what I'm
In the
going
words,
to say,
in the words of the bubble boy, not too good.
not too good. No. The Moops.
Right. Oh no.
I love that one. The typo, you
All
idiot.
right. That's such a great episode.
That is one of the best ones.
Yeah.
It's got like 3 story. Well, most of the Seinfelds have 3 storylines going. So that's a good one. Yeah.
Just to get sidetracked, I think the whole idea of how everything goes wrong in that episode is because George is all about trying to make such good time getting to the cabin, and he's driving so fast that he loses Jerry. Because I think we all have that one friend who, when he drives in a caravan, he's got to be the leader, and he's got to be doing like 20 miles an hour faster than everybody.
Yeah.
We've all had that friend.
Yep. Everybody has them. There's always one.
In the days before cell phones, you couldn't keep up with you couldn't
Like, where
you
are
get
you?
lost. Right.
I already got off the exit.
So, right. So, all right. Next up, matchup number 42. Adam Henrique's overtime goal in the 2012 playoffs, eliminating the Rangers in the conference finals, correct?
Yes.
And the Devils continued on to the Stanley Cup where they were beaten. But the Adam Henrique, I believe that was game 5 or 6 of that playoff series. Henrique knocking the Rangers out, ending their season, and not much else I could say about that.
Just a gut punch, tremendous gut punch that go.
Right, in a life full of them. in a fandom that's full of them. And the Adam Henrique overtime goal is up against the Jean Rattel and Brad Park trade, which, for those of you that may not know, that was, I believe, November 5th of 1975. I think that's the right date because we went and compared it to when November 7th, 1975, Brad Park and Jean Rattel traded along with the great Joe Zanuzzi, who really turned into quite a player, for Phil Esposito and Carol Vadnais. Rangers trading away two of the best players in team history, because Emile Francis said we didn't win. We needed to do something.
So trade away your best players.
It's only one. I don't know who's the one person voting on all of these, but I'm going. I think obviously the Rattel and Park trade is worse here. Would you agree with that?
Yes, although I see some chat room votes for the Henrique goal. I mean, who did the Devils lose to in that Stanley Cup?
Who did they lose to that year? I don't remember.
The Minnesota New Fighting Saints.
I don't remember. It was the Kings. They lost to the Kings.
Uh-oh.
They did lose to the Kings.
Paul Caduzzi may take a hatchet out.
Oh,
He hates the Kings.
right. Slowly I turn. The Susquehanna Hat Company. For those of you that ever watched the Abbott and Costello show.
Wow. I gotta go. What am I saying? Me personally. This is one of the worst trades in hockey history. I don't know what Harry Sinden put some kind of voodoo on Emil Francis. I mean, again, the story is Sinden said he would never trade Espo, and then something like that, or he jump out a window or something.
Espo said, "If you tell me I'm going to New York, I'm jumping out that window."
And he opened the window.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to say this was a tremendous blow.
Speaking of that, Paul Gaduzzi just jumped out the window at the mere mention of the Los Angeles Kings.
Oh, please don't, Paul. Don't worry. The Kings.
This too shall pass.
It shall pass. So I believe that both spiritually, the soul ripped out of those fans. Now, again, this is just before I'm entering my Ranger fandom. So I didn't feel the impact, but for guys who are older than me.
You were just a wee geik.
I was just a wee geik. Did not
riding around on your geiksicle.
Yeah, I was a little geiksicle. And at like 9 years old, 10 years old, I should have known to bail right then.
That's it. I've had it with this team.
I'm out.
This team, I'm subjecting myself to a lifetime of pain.
45 years.
Right.
All right. So I think just on a trade, just stat-wise and ripping the soul out of the team, this Emil Francis, I think, was smoking the funny stuff, as he would say, when he made this trade. Adam Henrique, I don't know what would have happened hadn't Adam Henrique certainly hurt, but I'm going with John Rattel and Brad Park.
All right, I am too. So they will move on to the Hess Station Sweet 16, and they will face off against the MSG Renovation. That should be an interesting discussion. All right, next matchup number 43. We've got two controversial signings going up against each other. First is the Derek Boogaard signing. The Rangers signing an obviously troubled, I think that's fair to say, Derek Boogaard. I believe they knew that he had a problem, had numerous problems when they signed him anyway. And I don't know if you have anything to add on Derek Boogaard. Although he did finish his career as a Ranger.
Yeah. Did Derek Boogaard's brother write a book about him or something?
Yes, I think so. Yeah. Well, his brother was. Yeah. I can't remember.
Also,
his brother was in the league too, right? Was his brother a player too?
The Boogeyman. He was a monster, though, man. A monster.
Aaron Boogaard. Is that him? Yeah, that's his brother.
Yeah.
I don't think he was drafted by Minnesota. I don't know if he ever made it in the league, but his brother was helping him get the pills and everything else he was ingesting. And
against the Joe Sakic offer sheet.
Right.
Can you recap
Neil Smith signing Joe Smith? Well, I think it was when Messier left, right? And Neil Smith was going to replace him in a bold move to replace Mark Messier as their first line center. The Rangers announced they have signed Joe Sakic of the Colorado Avalanche to a contract offer sheet of $21 million over 3 seasons.
Holy man!
Yeah, and let's see. 97, the Avalanche were still getting their feet wet in the city of Denver. The team took the city by storm with the Stanley Cup win in their first season. The team's financial position was on thin ice, playing at McNichols Sports Arena. The Avalanche were looking to be sold. And the Avalanche wound up matching the offer sheet. I think they got money from Pepsi or something like that for the naming rights.
The Derek Bugard was if there was any media covering hockey, it would have been looked upon as a really bad move by the Rangers, kind of getting involved with this kind of player and not doing their due diligence with the research, and maybe they knew, maybe they didn't. Could have been a bigger story. It really wasn't a story. The Joe Sakic offer sheet is a franchise changer. If the Rangers get Joe Sakic, one of the best two-way players ever to play the game, a guy who was great on faceoffs, just all around playmaker, goal scorer, really couldn't ask. In his prime, the Ranger dynamic would have and history would have been much different. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know if it would have led to a Stanley Cup, but it certainly would have made a meteoric impact on the Ranger franchise.
It probably would not have led to 7 years of missing the playoffs.
That's correct. That's certainly correct. Derek Bugard, R.I.P., but he probably would have wound up leaving this planet with some other team. So I am definitely going to go with the Joe Sakic offer sheet. I'm glad that one person voted.
Right. The Joe Sakic offer sheet would have been, like Eddie said, trajectory changing.
Yes.
All right. So the Joe Sakic offer sheet will move into the Sweet 16, and it will face off against one of these entries in matchup number 44. First up is Mark Messier leaving for Vancouver. That was after the 97 season, I believe. Is that right? After the 1997 season. Yes, 96-97. He signed with the Vancouver Canucks in a move that turned out to be disastrous for Messier and the Canucks. One of the most hated players in Vancouver history. And yes, Dave Checketts reportedly said, "How long do I have to keep paying for 1994?" And the Rangers, just 1 year after signing Messier's buddy Wayne Gretzky, they let Mark Messier leave for the Vancouver Canucks. And go ahead.
My feeling was always I felt a little betrayed by Messier. Mark.
I think
Messier,
I did too.
I will say this, and I've said it before. Mark Messier, undoubtedly. I mean, I don't have to say how great he was as a Ranger. We know what he did for this franchise. We know what kind of player he was, what kind of leader he was. But he has some off-ice stuff that bugs the shit out of me. And having his father run things and just to follow the money. Now, granted, I'm sure he made the right decision in following the money, and he did it, leaving Edmonton. So I think I just think that I will always hold this against him, leaving for Vancouver, but certainly not to a point where I'm gonna badger him because of he delivered a Stanley Cup. I mean, he delivered the ultimate prize.
Right.
But it is a little bit of an issue I have with him. Like instead of the S's in his name, you should just put $signs.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like you said,
there's some
stories
about him too off the ice. He's not the most friendly guy.
There's some behind the scenes stuff that's a little off-putting about him, and this is certainly one of them. And he was, if I remember correctly, he didn't sign his contract expired after 94, if I remember correctly, and he didn't sign his new contract until like right before they took the ice in 95 for the banner raising.
Yes.
There was some. I guess he couldn't sign a new contract because they were locked out, and then there was rumors he was going to hold out because he didn't want to sign the new deal.
Because I heard him on Steve Summers' show doing that before the lockout, saying that there's going to be a season, don't worry about it, and that annoyed me too.
Yeah.
All right, so it's going against the Ranger draft of 1977.
Yes. When the Rangers select Ron Duguay and Lucien Deblois in the first round over Mike Bossy.
Well, Messier comes back.
Yeah, but Messier comes back as a 40-year-old. Granted, still a productive 40-year-old.
How old did he play? 2 years with Vancouver, maybe?
3.
3.
3 years.
I mean, you want to talk about the trajectory. If the Rangers with the draft Mike Bossy, I mean, it could have been a little bit different. I'm going to leave it to the what we got here? 275 people in the chat room. What do they say? What do you guys think?
Okay. I'm going, I'll just say that I'm going Mike Bossy. That's my vote.
Okay.
Because, and I'll agree here, Sean McCaff says it very well. With Mike Bossy, the Rangers have a better shot at the Cup in 79, and the Islanders probably don't get their 4 cups.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Well,
McCaff voting Bossy, Doug voting Messier. John Riggs says a shell of Messier comes back. Mike Smith says the 77 draft, which he covered live for Warner Wolf on Channel 7. The votes are starting to come in here.
He covered that for the Long Island Press.
The Long Island Press.
My father used to deliver that in the 50s.
That's great. It looks like, we're getting a couple of late votes here for Messier. Let's see. I've got 1, 2. I'm counting 3 votes for Bossy and 3 votes for Messier. Chris DeMeat voting Bossy. Mike Smith voting Bossy. Andrew Conforte voting Bossy. So Bossy pulls back ahead after a brief.
I will go with Bossy too. I will also
all right.
Go with the Bossy. The Messier.
How did our one voter vote? Voted for Messier.
Yeah, the one voter voted.
Yeah, he voted for Messier.
Again,
right,
a lot of these more recent things hurt, but we're kind of, trying to put a historical and perspective on a lot of things that we didn't really experience, like the 77 draft that I really know at the time that they didn't even cover the draft then.
Right.
Guys got phone calls. Oh, you got drafted.
All right, so we're going with the 77 draft here.
Yes. You are correct, sir. Patty Duke says she doesn't give a fuck.
All right. Well, so we move on.
Moving on.
Next up, moving on. We have another signing. The Chris Drury signing. Rangers signing Chris Drury to that big contract. Overpaying that miserable human being.
I was waiting for it.
One of the worst free agent signings in their history. Another blemish on the Sather regime. Another just disaster. Another overpaid fat cat Chris Drury, another pain inflicting
Fine happens
player
for
that
them,
Sather puts in a blue shirt.
We should just like stop the bracket here and just put a giant stamp of Sather sucks on it. He wins the whole thing.
Right. End it right here.
Stamp.
And the excuse me.
Wait a minute. We have a disco story coming in. Darren Bushman says, I was at a disco with my girlfriend who was pretty hot, and Messier was hitting on her and ignored me. Well, what do you want him to hit on you? And looked at me when I tried to say hi, like I was a piece of shit. Well, you're a guitar player, Darwin. I like that. Trying to see what you got there. Can't see if that's a Les Paul. What's going on there? But
at a disco.
I would say that
I was at Studio 54 with Messier.
you were at a disco. You look like you at a disco. What were you hanging out with him?
Boogieing until the wee hours.
What do you listen to? Von Ellerman?
At the Copa.
At 1990s?
If I can't have you, I don't want nobody, baby.
Or Lisa Bridges? You would. I love the nightlife. I like that boogie.
On the disco. Oh, yeah.
What the hell is she? Sounds like Ethel Merman at that part. I don't know what's going on there.
Darwin says it was Studio 54.
Wow, Darwin. That is cool that you even at Studio
right.
54. Well, did you do a lot of cocaine and ecstasy while you were there? All right. You're 64 years old? Wow. You made it this long. As a Ranger fan, I'm telling you, man.
As a Ranger fan. So there is hope. There is hope.
I got at least maybe 9 years left. All right.
Jen coming back with, what the fuck did the dog do? She just got back. She's at work tonight, so. All right, so the Chris Drury signing is is up against the Ole Jokinen shootout miss versus the Flyers. That was the 2011 season. I think
it was one. I think it was either the first or second year of Tortsy.
Had to be the second year. Yeah. Tortsy makes me cry.
Something. I know you're gonna, but the power play still sucks.
I know you want a cup, but this power play fucking sucks. Tortsy, goodbye. Why do I remember your songs better than you do? You wrote these things.
You find them funny. I do them, and I'm glad everybody appreciates them, but I don't go around singing the Tortsy goodbye song. You got a better memory. At 55, things are getting a little hazy. But I'm glad you remember them. Well, that's good. Okay.
Jesus Christ, how much time do we have to talk about it?
Hey, John, how are you?
There's an oldie.
Yeah. I love that clip when he tells about it was on that show when they had the Winter Classic when he says, when you see Kessel, don't shit your pants. I love when he says that.
Don't shit. He's a great player, but don't shit your pants on him.
Yes. Rammer, give me that video.
So it was 2010.
2010. Jim, what do you think?
There are a few things worse to me than that Chris Drury signing. I'm sorry, he's just always going to be one of my least favorite Rangers. Always. I don't care what he's doing in Hartford. I don't care how much he's doing with the young player. I don't care. He was paid $35 million or whatever it was. He was terrible. The team was terrible. He was terrible. He was a terrible captain. That look on his fucking face all the time. And that bullshit about when he said that when they lost a big game, he said, it's not going to ruin my Christmas. Fuck him. He's just another one of these guys. I grew up rooting for the Rangers. Fuck you. I don't care.
That's the kiss of death when they say it.
Except for Adam Fox. He seems to be the only one that it worked for.
Kevin Shattenhurt.
Chris Higgins.
Getting Higgy with it.
Right.
I don't think the Rangers were going anywhere, even if Jokinen does score there.
Right. Well, if you remember, the Flyers made the finals that year, so everybody thought that. I mean, these dumbass Ranger fans thought that because the Flyers made the finals, winning that game, that if only Jokinen scores the goal, that the Rangers would have went to the finals because that's how it works.
That team. I mean. No. I remember that season, one thing about Ole Jokinen, they acquired him, and on the first game, he was playing the point on the power play. I was like, how did this guy even know any of the team? He just automatically is playing the point. There's absolutely no responsibility here. They haven't even practiced with the guys. Let's see. Even though Jokinen missed that goal, put up what Chris Demete said. There you go.
There it is.
Wow. And Chris is a Hank fan. All right. So I'm going to go in with listen, the venom, the vitriol that you feel for Chris Drury, I would feel like a total traitor to you if I would go against you. We are brothers in arms with this. Your hatred is my hatred, Chris Drury.
It would be.
Let's go Rangers, baby.
It would be like if you did a show with Paulie D.
No, please. What's talked about though?
Of course, because you were interesting and Paulie wasn't. Wonder how Paulie's doing.
We should have him on the show from a golf course.
Right. Because that's how we roll.
That's how we roll now. Everybody calls from a golf course. Yeah, Jim can persuade you. I'm reading what
I know.
There he is.
There he is. People are talking about it though still. The NHL's listening. Let me tell you something, big boy.
Yeah, any day now, Paulie's getting his big break.
Yes. It's going to be on TSN. On TSN, on Kotze's Corner. Jim can really. I mean, you talk about a prosecutor for the Chris Drury.
Right.
He's the man. He'll bring up everything. He knows
right.
it all.
I'm all 12. I'm all 12 angry men in that jury.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm thoroughly convinced, and I just thinking of Chris Drury's puss. Ugh.
Right.
Matt Morello loves Paulie D, by the way. He can't get
who doesn't? Who doesn't? Paulie D is
and not
he's
Paulie
the unsung hero.
Not the guy from Jersey Shore, the original Paulie D.
Right, the original. The one on the Jersey Shore stole it from Paulie D. God, I think all the clips we had all the jokes that came from that show. Thanks for the Falcon. Paulie D, the Falconer. Thanks for the Falcon. All right. Moving on. Let's see.
Paul
Where are we
Gaduzzi,
at?
Cover your ears for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, earmuffs, Gaduzzi.
I feel bad for you, bro.
3 overtime losses to the LA Kings in the 2014 Stanley Cup Finals.
The pain.
Was it 2 double overtime, 1 single overtime? Is that correct? Do I have that right?
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
What an exciting time before that, though.
Chris Drury, Joe.
Oh,
Hold
what
on,
a
here we
fine,
go.
fine captain.
Oh, Little League World Series, Joe.
And you still love Sammy after he uttered those words.
I love Sammy because he says things like that. Because he says things that are so preposterous, they're beyond reproach. 2 double overtime losses, 1 single overtime loss. Just your monthly reminder that the Rangers did not trail in this series until Game 3.
Yeah, this to me.
Sean McCaff calling this matchup the closest one yet.
Really? I don't think it's that close.
Really? You don't think so? Brian Leach, your favorite?
Let's go back to the time, the place, the situation. Do you remember the excitement after the Rangers won their conference final? I went to Modell's at 1 a.m. with my dad and my brother, and we got shirts with everybody's name on it. My wife has a shirt still. All the players. There was such a buzz, and we really I thought they could have had it. I really did. It was so disappointing and so gut-wrenching. You don't get to the Stanley Cup every day. For the Rangers, every 20 years. And I really thought they had a shot at 3. Come on, 3 overtime. I mean, this is about as bad as it gets, about as close as it gets. And they just didn't have a player who could rise to the occasion. And I thought the Kings, that was the end of their run, and I thought they could have been had. And now Brian Leach traded on his birthday. What was Brian Leach was, again, I say this every show. So all of a sudden I turned into what's his face?
Jackie Mason.
And then Clinton, he did this, and then Clinton with the zipper problems. Anyway, this was devastating. Brian Leach traded on his birthday. Brian Leach was waning in his play. It's a bad look. It's a horrible way for an icon, for one of the greatest Rangers ever, to go. Again, another black mark against Sather. But Brian Leach staying with the Rangers and finishing his career, although it would have been nice, doesn't measure up to the Rangers getting to the show, getting to the Stanley Cup, and losing, and us suffering through those games.
Right. I mean,
that's the way I look at it.
There is, I mean, you and I guess, let's see, Mike Smith, and maybe, not sure how old Andrew is or how old Andrew SFL, but in our lifetime, the Rangers have 1 cup and three trips to the cup, but you and I aren't old enough to remember 1972. Barely remember 1979. Most of what I learned about 79, I read about. I didn't, I don't remember really living it. I mean, I remember watching a couple of the games with my dad, but I don't have a lot of firsthand memories. So I think we know by now that these cup trips don't happen all that often, and that run with against the Kings was, out of nowhere, kind of. We weren't expected. I don't think they were, they weren't favored to win the conference, and they had to overcome a couple of 3-1 deficits, right?
Yeah.
There 2, and that and let's face it, the 3 goals made all the difference. If we just gotten 3 goals from 3 more goals, they win those overtime games. And the Rangers win the cup. Brian Leetch hurt. And what makes the Brian Leetch trade hurt even more is because he was traded for nobodies. I mean, this wasn't, he was traded, and the guys that they got did not turn out to be building blocks for the next era. They turned out to be building blocks for the next error.
Right. Error.
Well,
I don't think we got anybody good out of that purge.
So,
I
think definitely the loss to the King, the losing the finals to the Kings was worse, but worse than Leetch, definitely. But there were so many good things that happened on that run that I wasn't as devastated as maybe some other people. To me, when they lost to Tampa, that hurt worse than losing the finals. I don't know why. I was able to get over the finals loss easier than I was losing to Tampa. I'm still not over losing to Tampa. I'm still not over that.
AEM making some good points. I think one of them was the magic of Martin St. Louis. Probably him and Brad Richards, as I remember. I don't know if Brad Richards was part of that team. I think he was. I'm not sure. Those were the 2 guys that really were the last veteran leaders we've had on this team. I remember what Martin St. Louis' mom had passed away during that playoffs. Or
correct. On Mother's Day, wasn't it? Or no, he scored the goal on Mother's Day.
Yeah. Kind of even brought more emotion to the table. And I think the Rangers going forward are going to need a veteran to kind of get their ducks in a line, so to speak, with all this youth they've got now. But that's here nor there right now in this conversation. Listen, Brian Leetch, probably one of the best homegrown players we ever had. And I will say it's yes. But if I go back to the time, those 3 overtime, and the Rangers outshot them too a lot of the games, a lot of these overtimes. It just didn't happen.
Right.
So I am going to go with the 3 overtime losses.
I'm with you.
I mean, that's just my feeling. And it looks like the 1 vote.
Yes. The 1 electoral vote from Hawaii.
Don Ho has voted.
I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Greg Takanashi. The anti-Woot. He's from Hawaii.
Oh, he is the anti-Woot?
Yes. From Hawaii.
Still tune in? Is he he's old time.
Well, let me put it this way. I was looking over our podcast stats, and we have downloads from Hawaii every month, and I can't help but think that that's probably Greg.
Well, I hope it's Greg.
All right. Moving on. Next matchup, Eddie Jockman waved in 1975. We've watched the video. We've heard the chants. We've talked about it. Eddie waved, picked up by the Detroit Red Wings, who then returned to MSG with Jockman in net, fans chanting his name, rooting against the Rangers at Madison Square Garden. One of the most infamous moments in this club's history.
Did you see with Just Me? Why don't you post with Just Me just a second?
Guys, get back on camera. I don't want to look at this anymore. It's not often people would rather look at us than look at anything, right?
We will in a second.
Yes.
We believe the Eddie Jacquemin is. I mean, come on, this is almost like the Brian Leach, but instead he comes back and he plays against the Rangers at Madison Square Garden. The fans cheer him. They boo the Rangers. They boo the Rangers as they come out of the dressing, as they come down the runway to hit the ice. It really is the demolition of the heralded 70s teams under Emile Francis that went a long ways but couldn't win the cup. And Eddie is one of the most beloved Rangers to this day, and just was an icon. Him and Gilles Villemure were the Rangers in the late 60s and 70s, the 60s and 70s, and all those guys.
Right.
And Eddie Jacquemin is in the Hall of Fame, and he's just waved in a humiliating fashion. As usual, the Rangers do not do the right thing. It's just a total shit fest. They can't just put a bow on somebody's career. They just got to take a dump all on a guy that served them well.
And I mean, with Brian Leach, he was traded, and at least, there were assets brought back. Eddie Jacquemin was just cut loose.
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of an unceremonious way to treat one of the best players, one of your most popular players.
Yeah.
A Vezina winning goaltender.
In order to make way for John Davidson's illustrious goaltending career, Eddie Jacquemin was waived.
Chip, there's Big John Davidson. He's the future, Chip.
He's got a 5-hole bigger than Millie's.
And up against Eddie Jacquemin is Brian Leach breaking his ankle on the black ice. I believe that was what did we say? That was 92. Is that when that was? Rumors that Mr. Leach had been a little overserved.
He was in Barnabyville.
He was in Barnabyville. And if you watched his appearance on the Barnaby show, it looks like he's been overserved quite often in his lifetime. And like Sean McCaff said, guys get drunk every day and do dumb shit. Just look at Matthew Barnaby. So yeah, I mean, I'm going Jacquemin here. I think that's one of the that's one of the low lights of this franchise's history. Are you with me on Jacquemin?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definito
All right.
burrito.
Our final matchup of the Hildebrand 32. We have finally reached it. Here we are. Mike Ridley and Kelly Miller traded to the Washington Capitals for Bobby Carpenter in 1987. The Rangers, again, hoping that Bobby Carpenter would recapture his previous glory. Didn't happen, at least not until he got to the Devils. And even then it was moderate. I think that is if there's a 1 and 1A with the Rick Middleton trade, this is it. I think this is very close to being the worst trade they've ever made. If it's not the worst, it's right behind Rick Middleton.
If you consider, you have to consider the amount of games that these guys played in the NHL and how productive they were compared to Bobby Carpenter and his woeful Ranger career, and how good Mike Ridley and Kelly Miller were for years. This, by far, was one of the worst trades. Like you said, it can't be denied. I mean, it rivals every other stupid trade this team made. Like the major trades that they just got. Just a stupid Esposito trade. Just stupid. I don't know why he was in love with Bobby Carpenter. Maybe Bobby Carpenter had a good game against the Rangers, so he figured, oh yeah, okay, I'll get him. It's terrible.
Just a couple of quick hits here. Mike Ridley played 750 games after he left the Rangers. He had a 11-year career post Rangers and scored 260 goals after he left the Rangers, and about 650 points after he left the Rangers. Kelly Miller had a 15-year career, 13 of it after leaving the Rangers, 408 career NHL points after leaving the Rangers, played the entire rest of his career with the Washington Capitals until retiring in 1999 at the age of 35. So these could have been two cornerstones of the franchise for 10 years. Sacrificed.
And it's not like they were prolific goal scorers, these guys. They were really solid two-way players that really could have been some nice pieces to have around when you were acquiring a lot of these, supposed goal scorers. They really could have been really solid players, and they blew it.
Right.
Why they went after Bobby Carpenter? I knew when they made the trade it was terrible. They had just
Mike Ridley was a 70 to 80 point guy every year until he got into his 30s.
And it just made no sense. It still doesn't make any sense. I'm sure Capital fans are thanking us for that. Bobby Carpenter it just was a bad trade. I mean, the Rangers had just come off either a year, 2 years from the conference final run with these two guys under Ted Sater. All right, say what you want about Ted Sater, but Mike Ridley and Kelly Miller were a big part of that run, and it was we got two new young guys, and then Espo decides to say, I want to go for a big name. He goes for a big name, Bobby Carpenter, who really is just a name at that point. I think he was a couple of years removed from his 40-goal season, and he was shot.
It was a 50-goal season.
50-goal season. So he was shot. Espo was in the memory zone.
And
I think he played
just
30
one
games as a Ranger, and I think he had 2 goals or something.
Yes, that's 2 goals in 28 games.
So
went to the Kings and was a semi-productive player. Then Boston, he was productive, and then he wound up winning a couple of cups with the Devils. But by then, he was just a 4th-line guy. Now, Carpenter was the only argument you can make for Carpenter in this situation is that he was a young guy. And he was just 2 years removed from his 50-goal season. Rangers were just hoping he was going to be that player. But Mike Ridley was undrafted, and Kelly Miller was a 9th-round pick. I mean, they found gold with these two guys and traded them away for horrible trade. Horrible.
I think this is just another Esposito GM over tinkering, has to make a trade every week. Sees some little doggy in the window that impressed him. Just a stupid evaluation. I don't know who the hell was in the room. It sounds like not much thought was put into this trade at all.
Right.
Thinking about the future.
And
who knows?
Mike Carmen in our chat room here is also talking about durability. Mike Ridley consistently played at least 75 games almost every year of his career until he got towards the end. And same thing for Kelly Miller. 78 games, 80 games, 80 games, 78 games. These were not injury prone guys. And yes, Bobby Carpenter was then flipped for Marcel Dion. So
yes, before you hit the Hall of Fame, you get a contract with the Rangers as you exit the league.
well,
And,
right.
and
That back
Gus
in
is
those
right,
days,
too.
you definitely did.
Yes. Gus is right as far as the win now mode, but I don't think the win now mode's been around for. I don't know. I really don't think since the salary cap, I don't think the Rangers have been in win now mode. They do seem to land a lot of free agents, but I don't know. But back then, it was certainly the case, and before the salary cap, where they could just had carte blanche to spend all kinds of money. It was just
In the
who
80s,
cares
it was
about
more like in the 80s, it was more like win sometimes.
yeah. So
And
so now we got the Ute. So all right. So now the Eric goes against the Eric Lindros trade arbitration.
right.
Does this really even have to be debated?
I mean, yeah, I
All
mean,
right.
the Lindros, I'll just say that the Lindros thing sucked, and that's one of those things that would have changed the trajectory of the entire franchise. But I still think trading Mike Ridley and Kelly Miller was worse. I always thought that was a bad trade, but it wasn't really until I really delved into it for the purpose of this bracket, this tournament, that I really looked at it and looked at the numbers and compared them and thought, God, this is every bit as bad as Rick Middleton. It really is.
Yeah, it is.
So,
Yeah,
so I'm going Mike Ridley and Kelly Miller. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're in agreement here. One vote
Yeah.
came in for Eric Lindros. That's Hawaii again.
The U.S.
It's all that
Samoa
hookah down there.
come in with
Right. The Federated States of Micronesia.
from the Isle of
All right.
Samoa.
So Mike Ridley and Kelly Miller move into the Hess Station Sweet 16, and they will face off against Eddie Jockerman. All right, so there you have it.
Tight. Wow, there are just me. Look, it's our faces.
There we are. We're back.
I just put my shirt on. I'm only kidding.
He's still pantsless though. That's guaranteed.
I have pants on. But that was Joey Pantless.
So before we say goodnight, quick update on things. How are things going out on Long Island? Are things reopening? Are you getting out of the house? Can you go to a restaurant? Can you have something to eat?
Well,
have you done that?
I went on my anniversary. I went out to eat at a place that overlooks a golf course, and it's outdoor.
Oh, did you see
seating.
Barnaby?
Yeah. I thought of taking a shot on a golf cart, all drunk.
That would have been great.
Yeah, I know I should have done it, but I couldn't find a golf cart. I would say that I was able to go out. We ate. My wife's a little bit more cautious than I am, which is good, and we were able to have a nice dinner. But on Long Island, I would say in my area, which I don't always speak highly of, people are wearing the masks. They're doing their due diligence. It's just sit tight and watch Florida disintegrate. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just it seems like it's still going to be around for a while. I thought it would be, and me, I have that little musical side thing I do, and all these places are closing. They have
Yeah.
GoFundMe pages, all these bars and stuff. I mean, there's going to be
Yeah.
no place to play. So
The
but
things here have gotten a little better. The restaurants are opening a little bit. Basically, you can. Most of them are open. I think that it's either 20. I think it's 50% capacity. You wear a mask into the restaurant when you sit at your table. You take your mask off. We went out to a diner near here last night and had dinner. So you got to wear a mask everywhere you go. If you go to the stores, whatever, you got to wear the mask. Our gym is reopened, and we've been going back to the gym, which I never thought I'd say this. I missed going to the gym. So we've been going to the gym, which you got to wear a mask while you're in the gym and while you're working out, which is not. It's not easy.
Breathing. Yeah, it's not easy. That
would make labor even more. And I bought a mask yesterday at Target. They had like a really thin mask, and I thought, well, maybe this will be good for wearing to the gym because it's really thin. But it turned out that it was kind of big. So when I was starting on the elliptical, I started breathing heavy, and I was just like, like you're sucking it. Like imagine just putting like a pillowcase over your face, which Jen has tried to do a couple of times. And right, you're basically suffocating. So we're still working out I'm still working out the kinks for how to go to the gym and get my exercise. Still have a trip planned next month to go down to Florida, or God willing, we'll see what happens. But I'm kind of one of these. I've said it before. At some point, we just got to get back to life, and we got to hope for the best. I mean, just can't stay home forever. I think if people go out and take the precautions that they're being told to take, you'll be okay. And if you get sick, I think they know better how to treat it. And if you're a relatively healthy person, which God willing, God be thankful I am for the most part, except being a little overweight, but I think I could, if I get it, I get it. What am I going to do? I just got to live life. And if I get down there and get sick, I'd rather get sick doing something I love than, I caught it at ShopRite. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of bullshit going on with this virus. I think, the numbers are all over the place. These positive, I don't think we're getting the right information from any of our government leaders, any of them. Everybody hates their governor. Everybody hates everybody. I think everybody's.
This is very unpopular, but I don't give a fuck. I think the way Cuomo, I don't give a fuck about how he treats the police, whatever this and that, your issues against him. I thought he handled it really well. I mean, he was on the ball. He's updating every day.
Right. I think he handled it well. I think the only problem was that a lot of New Yorkers said, well, if they're going to shut everything down, fuck this. I ain't staying in New York. I'm getting the hell out. And they went to Florida, and they went to Arizona, and they went where it was warm. And now we've got those problems in those places. Yeah. So, I hear a lot of, New York's recovered. Look how strong we are. Yeah. Well, yeah, but like most New Yorkers, you sent it to Florida and you sent it to Arizona,
Well, that's true.
So,
also had a lot of politicians down in Florida, who kind of opened up things too soon. But that said, listen, we're not here to be pundits on the politics, whatever. Jim's right. You got to live your life. Live it the way you want to live it.
And I also understand that, having lived there, I also understand that is that's a state that depends on its tourism.
Yeah, of course.
And
it's about the money.
People that are constantly saying, "Oh, they got to shut it all back down" the minute they hear there's positive cases. I'm like, well, that's great, but how do you want to explain that to the millions of people? We went from 40 million people out of work. I think we're down to I don't know what the last numbers were. But how are you going to explain to all those people that are going to lose their jobs again how they're going to pay their rent and eat? we can't just sit home forever and expect the government to pay for it. We just can't. I mean, it's affected Jen. I've been lucky.
Had enough for you.
I'm just saying.
I know.
I'm just being honest.
I know.
That's not coming from. I'm just saying. I've seen firsthand. It's affected Jen. She's lost a lot of hours. She's lost money. I've been luckier than she has. We work for the same company, but I was less affected than she was. But it sucks. It sucks for a lot of people, and we just, this was supposed to be a 2-week thing, and we're in month. We're in 5. We're coming up on 5 months almost. I
just feel like if everybody does the right thing, we could fucking squash this thing. But there's so many other things that come into play. Politics plays such a big role in this, and it just do the right thing and think about other people,
right?
And just be mindful of other people, and just do whatever you want, but just be mindful of other people. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, these assholes in Florida that are having house parties, and these people in Texas that I'm hearing about these COVID parties, that they should just set the house on fire. I mean, the fire department should be allowed to just show up and gaslight the place, because that's just you're just asking for trouble. But you're not. It's not helping. But I think for the most part, at least from what I see. You go out here, people are wearing their masks and doing what they have to do. You wash your hands, put your mask on, do what you got to do. Live your life. Live your life. Get busy living or get busy dying. It's goddamn right.
Okay. Yeah,
that's all I could say. It's my favorite movie quote of all time.
All right, Jim. Well, we did over 2 hours of broadcasting excellence.
Nice long show for everybody. I miss every talking to everybody every week. So nice to get back. Glad we're on Facebook again and YouTube. Everybody can see us. Don't forget, sign up www.patreon.com/Blueshirt Underground Radio, and you guys will put you in our Facebook group, the Blueshirt Undergrounders, and that's where we're going to do the video streams for the playoffs. That's something special we're going to do because we feel like our supporters, we haven't been able to do as much for you guys. So that's where we're going to do the post-game shows, and then we'll upload them to YouTube the next day or something like that.
I mean,
sign up for $1 a month. You don't have to, you don't have to be like a $20 contributor. I mean, God love you if you are, but whatever you contribute, we're happy. We'll put you in the group and you'll be there.
To get my live post-game reaction after a playoff game,
it's worth it.
Excitement.
That ain't. Tell me that ain't worth $1 a month.
Let me tell you, man. Oh, I'm getting pumped already. I'm getting pumped. I'm totally different from last week, where I didn't care. It's like down. I don't care. Let's just end it. Now I'm psyched.
Now he's ready.
Terry's in camp. Darren Radish is our new 8th defenseman. I'm psyched.
Exactly. All right. We will see you guys sometime next week. We love you. Enjoy your weekend. Take care. Hockey's coming, we hope. Eddie, always a pleasure.
Coming. Always a pleasure.
Be well, my friend.
Last week I had technical difficulties.
That's right. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Take care. Good night, everybody.